Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chelsea Story Nook Podcast, a podcast where we dive deep into the enchanting world of the children's literature. I'm your host, Chelsea Chong Kim, and today we have a wonderful guest joining us to share their journey and insight into their latest book. I'm so delighted to welcome our children's book author, Rick Harris, aka Papa Rick, the author of the book, The Adventures of Caboose, the Rocky Mountain Bear, to Chelsea Story Nook Podcast. Welcome to podcast, Papa Rick.
Thank you, Chelsea.
How are
Pleasure to
you
be here.
doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if you guys see this in video right now on the YouTube channel. He has everything on his background. He has his little doll. He has his book on the background. Awesome. We're gonna ask so many
Chelsea,
questions.
so I've got Caboose, just like
Mhm.
Carol the Carrot,
Awesome.
and our
Beautiful.
book. And then up there is we're working on our second book,
Oh my
Hijinks at the
God.
Big Head Folk Music Festival. So
I'm a fan. I'm already ready for your second book. And again, let's just jump right to it. I'm so
sure.
excited. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you for asking. I'm the proud grandfather of five grandchildren, which is incredible. Three granddaughters and two grandsons, and they all refer to me as Papa. So that's how it all started, and that's how I ended up with my children's book author handle, Papa Rick. And it's because of the adventures that I've had with my grandchildren that they actually have influenced me to become a children's book author. And all five of them have co-authored uh, different books with us. So it's pretty incredible. And our oldest granddaughter, Kira, she actually
Yes.
is the inspiration behind Caboose, the Rocky
Mm,
Mountain Bear. And if you notice,
mm,
Chelsea, Caboose normally starts with a C, but in this case, in our
yes.
book, it starts with a K, and that has to do because Kira. So the K
Oh,
represents Kira. So that's
that's,
how that all came about. And you know what they say that if you want to stay young, get younger friends.
mm,
And my grandchildren definitely are my younger friends. We're very active together. We ski together. We cycle together. We golf together. We do a lot together. So it's fantastic, and they definitely continue to contribute to our book series, Caboose the Rocky Mountain Bear.
I mean, let's just get right into your book. I just want to already know about your, I already read your book anyways. I want our listeners, I want my audience to know more about your book and already head on to Amazon and already purchase your book already. But let's just learn about your book. What's your book about? What's your characters like? What's the theme and core message the readers can take
Absolutely.
away? Hmm.
So, first of all, with my oldest granddaughter, and we were very fortunate to have a home in the Rocky Mountains. And so when she was born, uh, all the adventures started. And she had a couple of plushies, and we would run around. She was about five, 4 or 5, 5 or 6. Anyway, she always wanted to take these plushies and run all over there where we had in the Rocky Mountains with her plushies, and we would take pictures. So we would take pictures skiing, we would take pictures by the river, we would take pictures in the mountains, like, and it created so many adventures. And eventually, she said to me, "Papa, can we come up with our own character?" And I said, "Well, sure." And that's how it all started. And we happened to be in San Francisco, my wife and I, and we went to this plushie store where they make bears, and we ended
Hmm.
up designing Caboose the Rocky Mountain Bear that you can see in the background. So
Oh,
that's how it all started. And then when we brought the bear back, Caboose back from our trip to San Francisco, Kira was over the moon. She couldn't believe that. And then from there, she said, "Well, Papa, we've got to take all of our adventures." And of course, like a proud grandfather, I had taken all these pictures of all of our adventures. So we sat down in a coffee shop and she asked me if we could buy a journal, and we bought a journal, and that's how it all started. And our first time there, we wrote the first book, The Adventures of Caboose, the Rocky Mountain Bear.
Wow. So that's like, okay, so that's the book, all about the book, and also that's the inspiration behind the book as well. If if I were a new customer and I were to get this book, what is the core message you want them to take away from this book? Like if I were to get this book, what would the main theme would be?
Oh, thanks for asking. You know
Hmm.
what? It really is all about discovering outdoor recreational adventures, activities, and even storytelling. Because
Mm.
Kira and I would, and her cousins, we would go on these adventures, and then we'd end up making them into stories, and we'd tell the stories back to each other. And that's how our second book that's coming out in August came about, because we went to a folk music festival, and we had so much fun. We met some people from Portland, Oregon, who have become good friends of ours. And then we ended up, our middle granddaughter, Bailey, she won the grand prize. It was actually a shopping trip to a toy store. And she got called up on stage, and she went up there on the stage. Like, it was just such a fun, happy day that we ended up writing our next story. And so it's
Mm.
all about outdoor recreational adventures, activities, and storytelling. And that's what I encourage parents to do, is get out into the great
Mm.
outdoors, because you know what? I
Right,
mean, kids nowadays a lot of times are on their electronics.
right.
And I'm not discouraging that. I'm just saying every once in a while have a little outdoor recreational time.
Hmm. True. And then also, I want to know, could you walk us through how you became an author and the experience that influenced your journey with this whole process?
Oh, great question. And you know what happened, Chelsea, during the pandemic, I
Hmm.
my wife and I had invested in investment real estate, and I always had
Oh,
this book, this business book in my brain. So during the pandemic, I actually wrote a business book on investment real estate and a workbook, and it was self-published. And that at that point, I knew that I could get into self-publishing and create books. And by that time, my grandchildren were all excited about creating our
mm,
first book, and many more. So that's how it all started. It was all from, being hunkered down during the pandemic and learning new skills, and away it
mm-hmm.
went.
Wow, amazing. And then again, this is a big decision. You chosen your granddaughter to be the co-author. Kira, you said, right? Kira?
Kira, that's correct.
Kira. To be your co-author of your book, which was not a, it was actually a tough decision. You could have been just an author, but you decided her to be included in this book. I don't know if you guys see this cover right here, but it is included in the
Yes,
cover.
Kira Dinglin.
And on the back, is this?
Yeah, that's Kira. And that would be probably her first trip out to the mountains, and that would have been on the back patio of our home in the Rocky Mountains.
How
And we
precious.
call her our mountain baby.
Oh, how precious. And like, I want to know, like, tell me what was the key moment you decided, like, why was it so important for you to include her in this journey? And you guys, you have to know how important this was because Papa Rick really emailed me and said, you must include her picture as this is so important to you.
It's interesting how children, their creativity is pretty incredible. And Kira had two stuffies. One was a bunny named Georgia, and the other was a plushie named um, George. And they were brother and sisters. So as children, one was a bunny, one was a bear. To children, it doesn't matter. They don't. mix things up like we do as adults, right? They just thought there was no problem in Georgia was a bunny and George was a sibling and he was a bear. And that really kind of triggered our whole development because at some point we wanted to come up with our own character, and that's was the development of Caboose, the Rocky Mountain Bear. And by that time, Kira had in our Rocky Mountain home, we had built a shadow box of my dad's toy train set when he was a young boy. And at the end of the train was this red caboose. And if you look in the book,
Mhm.
there's a couple of pictures of a red caboose where the
Mhm.
family, where Caboose, and then
Oh,
oh, there you
wait,
go. And
right here?
there's a red caboose. Well, nowadays, Chelsea, I think it's been over 20 years. Trains no longer have cabooses.
Hmm.
So, I
Yeah.
mean, for Kira, she had never seen a caboose other than as a toy
Ah.
train at the end of a toy train set. So that
Mhm.
just she just loved the word because nobody says
Mm.
caboose anymore.
Right,
And
right.
so she would run around yelling out caboose, caboose. And
Mm.
then we just
That's
took
so
the
cute.
K, took the C out, put the K in, and came up with the character caboose.
Right. And it's so adorable because now if she grows older and then she can actually share this with her own children. And this is going to leave a legacy with her. And she's going to think about you all the time. And she's going to be so honored that you
Thank
actually
you.
left a legacy.
Yes,
This
and
is
on
precious.
our next book, I'm going to pull this
Yes.
down and just show you audience.
Yes,
Is
please do.
there that so that's the
Oh, I love the
cover for our next
cover.
book. And if you notice, there's Bailey Harris on there,
Ah,
and that's my
yes.
middle granddaughter. So she's the so
Oh,
there's three of us that wrote this book.
oh.
Hey there, listeners. Before we go back to the podcast interview, if you love our podcast and want to reach out and engage audience, we got great news. We're now accepting brand deals, sponsorships, and promotion. Whether you're a brand looking to connect with passionate listeners or a business wanting to make an impact, we love to collaborate. Reach us out at chelseastorynook@gmail.com to discuss how we can feature your brand in our episodes. Let's create something amazing together. Now, back to the show.
Oh my goodness, how precious.
Yeah,
And
this is
I think, yeah, most of my audience are like authors and entrepreneurs, CEOs, and most of us all struggle in this journey, just starting our own business, starting this author business, starting anything that we just start new. What
yes.
was the most challenging part of this whole process for you?
Oh, that is a great question. I would say, finding the right way to market the book
Mm,
in terms of uh, the biggest single challenge as a self-publisher, of course, is that, you know what, we set ourselves up on Amazon, which has been fantastic. We through KDP, we set ourselves up through Ingram Sparks, which reaches all the other online book retailers. So from that standpoint, we have our book in distribution, but now, I mean, there's so many great children's book authors. How do you stand out from the crowd?
yeah.
And that was the biggest challenge for us. It took about a year for us to figure out what exactly is the right formula.
Mm,
And I'm not saying we found the right formula, but what I am finding now is they're saying a lot of people are talking about it. Once you get a second book, it opens up some more doors. For example, I
mm,
know I joined an organization, and once a year, they actually send children's book authors out to right across Canada, 'cause that's where I live, right
uh-huh.
across Canada to do book readings of their book. And they buy a lot of your books to give out. So it's
Mhm.
like a very neat thing. The only thing they
Interesting.
stipulate is they say they usually don't choose children's book authors unless they have two titles. And so so timing is
Wow.
perfect because we're going to launch
Yes.
our second title this year, and then we submit in the fall for next year. So that's our goal next year, is to be part of that. And so that's very exciting.
Oh, wow. And thank you for sharing that moment. And also, can you share, since we're going with this topic, can you share about your author business and offer any tips for authors out there who need help with marketing and
Absolutely.
perhaps how you do that?
Absolutely, for sure. So the first thing we did was, I would suggest now, because it's difficult because you're trying to
Mm,
figure out all of this stuff. So the first
yeah.
thing is make sure you've got your online line presence. So Amazon,
Yes.
Ingram Sparks. Make sure you've got your book available to as many people as you can. The next thing you have to do as a uh, self-published children's book author is
Mhm.
see if you can find a couple of retailers, book retailers that'll support you. And we were very fortunate. We found in the Rocky Mountains, we found a bookstore, independent bookstore that's supporting us, and they're doing extremely well. And I have to show you this. We just got another order today for our book from them. This is our fourth order. So
Wow.
we're over the moon. And so we've made sure we've developed a
Good.
relationship with them. And one of the things that we do is, because they've been so supportive, we have a website, Caboose the Rocky Mountain Bear.com. If you go there, you'll see a logo that says Stonewaters, and that's the name of the store in the town of Canmore in the Rocky Mountains in near Banff National Park. So just so to suggest that you develop some sort of relationship. The neat thing about doing that, if you do, then you can come up with some simple ideas. I'm going to show you one. So what we did, sorry, Chelsea, is
Um,
we actually developed a bookmark. And this
Oh,
bookmark,
wow.
I designed it on Canva, the free version of
Yes.
Canva. You see there's a QR code.
Hmm.
So that QR code actually takes you to our first book, our audio book. So our middle
Nice.
granddaughter, Bailey, is actually the narrator, and she's the voice of Caboose in on that audio book. So then what we
Wow.
did is, to help promote the book in store, we developed this in-store signage with the
Uh-huh.
store. And so if someone bought our book, they got a free audio book and bookmark. So you can see
Amazing.
how just developing a little something like that, and this promotion did very well, and it didn't cost us anything, because the other than to print the bookmarks,
Hmm.
but the signage was, they did the signage for free. I just sent them the graphics, and they promoted our book in store. So that's what I'm saying, is develop a relationship um, with at least one or two independent bookstores. And so they're always looking for help, right? Because they're always
Yes.
fighting the bigger book retailers like Costco and Barnes and Noble.
Right.
So yeah, so that I would definitely do that. And then the other thing we did was we we developed our website, and
Yes.
about every 3 months, I've been doing little changes to the website just to make it better and
Yes.
more interactive. And one of the things that we did, and I would really suggest this for people, independent book authors or any type of children's book author, is create some activity pages that tie into your book.
Mm.
Because we created activity pages which is at the back of our book,
Yes.
and one
Right over
is,
here.
yeah, thank you. So we encourage people to first write their children's story together, and then if you flip to the next page, you'll see that there's picture frames, and then we encourage you to draw your story in the picture frames. So what we did, Chelsea, is if you go to our website, you can actually get free activity pages. That's it. So Caboose, the RockyMountainBear.com. And if you go there, you can get free activity pages. And we just added a new bonus activity page also. So we'll show you how to draw your hero character.
By the way, guys, you guys need to go to his website. His website, it's amazing. It's organized. You guys can actually go directly to his website. Go right now. And going with like the budgeting process and everything, I know you already touched base on that. A
Yes.
lot of us have struggled with limiting budgeting with, especially authors, because we don't make that much. And a lot
Yes.
of us start from scratch. And we're not just billionaires making a lot of money with this, or even like we just start from ground zero.
And you know what, Chelsea, you've hit it right on the button. Make sure, I have to emphasize this to everybody. Most children's book authors forget about putting their website address on everything. You need to put your website address on everything.
Yes.
And that's what I would encourage, including your activity pages, because you know what, Chelsea, when you go do school readings or library readings, children don't have $20 sitting in their pocket.
No.
They're not running up to you and saying, Chelsea, take my money, right? You have to find a way to get to the parents or grandparents, because they're the ones that have the funds to support you. So if you have your website on your activity pages, then at least they know where to go to at least have the opportunity to buy your book. And a lot of people have activity pages, but they forget their website. And then people go, well, how do I find the book? So again, just a simple thing, but it works very well. And I have to show you something. What happened, Chelsea? Caboose just got her own book bag. And
wow, that looks like a really good quality tote bag.
Thank you. And do you notice what's on there? It is the website's on there. And guess what's inside the bag? Her favorite book. You know what it is?
It has to be Carol the Carrot.
Carol
Rolls for the
Carrot.
You're awesome, Papa Rick.
I couldn't resist.
Oh my God, we all love Papa Rick. Guys, you have to support Papa Rick right now. Go to his website. You guys gotta go hit his Amazon. You guys need to write an Amazon review, guys. All authors love an Amazon review. Please support his book, guys. Go on all the retail stores as much as possible. Maybe, message him on Instagram. Say, I love your book. I love your messages and everything. All authors love a good love message. Am I correct, Papa Rick?
Absolutely. And you know what, Chelsea? One thing I want to say too is I know you talked about the children's book authors, but if you involve your children or grandchildren, here's the other couple of neat things. One is generally you're an adult, you're writing like an adult, you're trying to write a children's book. The best editors for a children's book are children, because if the words are too large or hard, your children will tell you that. My grandchildren have corrected many stories by saying, Papa, nobody's going to understand that word.
Exactly.
And the other thing is, you know what? Just because we were the one, like I'm sharing our idea where my middle granddaughter, Bailey, is the book reader for an audiobook. There's nothing that says that you, as a children's book author, even if your child doesn't help you co-author the book, nothing says that you can't use their voice to be the character in your book.
Exactly.
So I just want to share that with you. You just have to kind of open up your mind to whatever possibilities there are.
Exactly. Well, Papa Rick, that's such an incredible journey ahead of you. And as we near the end, could you let us in on any upcoming events you're so excited about for our future audience to hold? Because this is going to be aired in the near summertime or maybe in springtime. So is there any future events around that time?
Well, thanks, Chelsea. Okay, like you think that you planned this for me. You might be my marketing manager.
Okay.
Because we're going to release this book the first week in August, and it's actually
Yay!
tied into there's a large folk festival in the Rocky Mountains called the Canmore Folk Music Festival, and this story is
Wow.
actually based on that, and it's
Mhm.
called Hijinks from the Big Head Folk Music Festival. And we're
Mhm.
actually going to go to the store and down to the folk festival and launch our book there. So
Wow.
if you're involved with any type of event, sometimes it might turn into a book, and before you know it, you've got that opportunity. So that's number one. Number two is that Chelsea was a guest on our podcast show called The Adventures in the Heart of Children's Book Authors. And what we're doing is, of course, we're talking to children's book authors, just like Chelsea. I'll just show you
Mhm.
this for a moment. And
Go subscribe, guys. Go listen to it.
thank you. And listen to Chelsea's episode. And so we're really excited about it. But I made a goal this year, Chelsea, to interview one children's book author a week. And
Oh,
right now
I
I'm
love
right
that.
on track to do that. So I'm very excited about helping other children's book authors. I just think really help each other out, because you know what? This children's book author community I've met so many incredible, incredible people, just like Chelsea. So thank you,
Aw.
Chelsea.
And what's the best way our listeners to follow you and stay informed of your latest work?
So if you go to our website, caboose.therockymountainbear.com, you can actually get a hold of me through the website. We're also on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. So you'll find me on LinkedIn under Papa Rick, believe it or not.
Awesome.
And
I love
yeah, and
that.
you'll find us on through Instagram and Facebook through Caboose the Rocky Mountain Bear.
Awesome. That sounds like an exciting journey ahead. Thank you so much, Papa Rick, for joining us and sharing your insight. It's been a huge honor and pleasure having you on my podcast.
Well, thank you, Chelsea, and carry it on.
Yes, let's carry it on. Thanks for tuning in the episode of Chelsea Story Nook podcast. Don't miss out. Papa Rick Harris, aka Papa Rick again, the author of the book, The Adventures of the Caboose, the Rocky Mountain Bear. I'll include all the details in the description below, so be sure to check it out and follow Rick Harris for updates on his upcoming events. Until next time, keep reading, keep imagining, and keep believing in the miracle stories. I'm Chelsea Chong Kim signing off. Take care, everyone, and let's carry it on. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in today's episode of Chelsea Story Nook Podcast, Shy to Shine, your gateway to success. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, leave a review, and share this podcast with someone who could use a little inspiration. We love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and let us know your biggest takeaway from today's episode. Until next time, keep growing, keep shining, and always remember your story is worth sharing. And let's carry it on.